Hello, this is a shamanic approach, and I am Angela Faith, shamanic practitioner and mentor, and I am so happy that you are here. Thank you for joining me, and as always, I like to begin by saying it is never my intention to tell you what to think, feel, or believe, but it is my desire to inspire you to think, to feel, and to believe. So I am really glad that you are here today. I'm going to talk about something that I'm surprised wasn't episode 1, and those that I have mentored will understand why I say that. But I want to go about it in this way. I want to talk about meditation, but I want to explain to you as someone, a shamanic approach to meditation, and I'm going to offer you something to consider when it comes to meditation. There's lots of different types of meditations. There's lots of myths about meditation. There's a lot of confusion around meditation. I know this because people ask me questions, and it becomes obvious to me that their expectation of what it's supposed to look like, feel like, be like is confused. And it's because there's so much information. I go to the store now, and if I'm wanting something as simple as anything, mascara or green beans, there's so many choices. I get overwhelmed. I don't know which one to do. And I don't remember it being so overwhelming always. Well, it doesn't have to be. And so meditation is a bit like that. But I first want to talk about, so this is how I want to approach this. And I do have an outline, but this is unscripted. This will be unedited. And this is me in the raw. So yeah, here we go. One of the principles of shamanism, because as I say in probably, I think every episode so far, and I will likely say in every upcoming episode, shamanism is a practice, it is a way of being. It is not just learning how to journey. It is not just enjoying being in nature. It is multifaceted, interconnected. It is a practice. It is a way of living. And if you want to know more about that, I'd be happy to talk to you about that. One of the principles of shamanism is to cultivate and maintain an ongoing relationship with an understanding, or with creator, with universal intelligence, with God, whatever your comprehension, interpretation of that is. Because the beauty is that humans, we don't have the capacity to comprehend it in its fullness, but willing to accept that there is a creator, a divine creator that is, and seeking to have a relationship with that creator, with that essence, with that energy, that universal intelligence. Because again, if I say I'm divine, it's just lip service if I don't believe in something that I am a manifestation of that divine being, if that makes sense to you. So again, so shamanism is accepting that, because before Christianity, before religion, indigenous cultures knew there was a similar thread that ran through, that there was a knowing of a creator. So that is a principle of shamanism. That is a core principle. Metaphysics, in the sense, the context that I use it, because I do have a bachelor's in metaphysics, and a lot like when I say I'm a shamanic practitioner, people think they know what that means, but not exactly. So I want to give you a little bit of an explanation. And I did pull this off of the University of Metaphysics, which is in Sedona, Arizona. I pulled this off of their information so that I don't mess it up in the paraphrasing. This is what the studies are focused on. So Dr. Paul Leon Masters, what is metaphysics? This is his answer. My definition of metaphysics would be the search for absolute reality, the search for who am I? What am I? Where have I been? Where am I going? What is the relationship of man, mind, and the universe? I'll stop there. And then this definition: metaphysics acknowledges and respects the beauty in all of creation. Okay, that's in the metaphysics teaching. That is in alignment with what I practice in shamanism. Metaphysics does not explore religious beliefs and laws created by man, but rather it explores the immutable laws of nature set by the Creator in the creation of the universe. Again, that is in alignment with my practice of shamanism. Metaphysics is a branch of philosophy that studies the ultimate nature of existence, reality, and experience without being bound to any one theological doctrine or dogma. In alignment. Metaphysics is the study of ultimate cause in the universe. It is the only science capable of inquiring beyond physical and human science. So, metaphysics is not just reading cards and tea leaf reading and such. It is a science that really goes into that connection, that awareness. Now, mind you, when I enrolled to get my degree in metaphysics, I did not know at that time how all of this was going to support each other and tie in together. I was surprised. So, moving on now. So, I have studied metaphysics. I practice and have studied shamanism for lifetimes, I believe. I have studied yoga, spiritualism, Buddhism. I can't think of any others right now, but you get my point. And there is one thread of commonality that runs through them all that is the most important aspect, that is something that is imperative to the experience. Do you know what that is? I told you in the beginning of this. Meditation. Meditation, meditation, meditation. There are many kinds of meditation, many. There are guided, there are walking meditations, active meditations, visual meditations, many kinds of meditations. I encourage you to try them. Find one that works for you. I have a friend that plays Scrabble every morning just by herself. That's meditative. My husband does Legos, puts together Legos. That is meditative. Cooking can be meditative. Cleaning can be meditative. Walking can be meditative. Anything can be meditative if we can, first of all, leave our devices out of it and get into that state of just being. But there is a special kind of meditation that I want to talk about. It can be called mystical meditation, or we'll call it that. We'll call it mystical meditation. And when I teach others that I mentor, I really, really encourage having a practice of this type of meditation and adding to it the other types, adding to it the walking or the active types of meditation. So what this looks like is simply sitting still. Sitting still. That's it. And I find it interesting, the resistance to that. Not only what I observe, again, I've been mentoring primarily women for over a decade, and I see patterns, right? And also in my own practice and journey, I am very observant of my own patterns and aware, okay? And when I find myself resisting something, I get curious about that and I kind of lean into it, like, where's this coming from? And that allows me to move through it. And I see this because, of course, when people start working with me one-on-one, I'm going to initially support them, or yes, support them in creating a meditation practice. Because what I hear often is, I try, to meditate, but. I try to, but. So, first of all, one of my very important teachers in life told me that trying is dying. And for me, at that time in my life, she was right. Some of us get the luxury of trying, and some of us run out of tries. It's like 9 lives, 9 tries. I don't say I'm trying anymore because for me, that was always a scapegoat, a cop out. Well, I tried. Again, my story is different than yours, but my story took me to a place where there was no more trying. It was put up or shut up. Literally. Yeah, I was done. I was bankrupt in all the ways. So trying, no, it was off the table. So now the word I use is practice. I'm practicing. I'm not trying to paint, I'm practicing painting. I'm not trying to meditate, I'm practicing meditating. I am establishing a meditation practice. It's a little inconsistent right now. This may be what you were saying. I've got a consistent meditation practice now, but it has taken me years of practicing meditation to get there. And it took a lot of compassion with myself on the journey. So I didn't just give up and say, "Oh, I tried, but I couldn't do it." Yes, I can, and so can you. And some will even say the harder it is that for you to sit still for a few minutes, the more you need to sit still for a few minutes. Because I promise you one thing, I promise you, if you don't, life will sit you still. Life will sit you on your butt. Now, how does this tie in with where I started, with shamanism and metaphysics and such? So, like I said, studying all of the spiritual practices and faiths, meditation is key. Meditation is the way to get in alignment, to get into your awareness of your connection. You're always connected to source. You can't not be connected. We're all always connected. We're all part of this creation. You can't step out of it and step back in. But your awareness of your connection can waver. So then it's like not tuning into the station that is accessible to you. So if you're not aware, it's just as powerful as not having it, right? So how do I have that awareness? People are always asking me, how do you connect? How do you connect? You remove the resistance to that connection. You can't do that if you don't sit still for a minute and allow yourself to tune in. Now, that does not look like sitting still and not thinking. I do not sit in meditation and not have a thought. I don't do that. I have thoughts. But with practice, I'm able to slow them down. I'm able to direct them deliberately with practice. It's like taming a wild horse, I would imagine. I've never tamed a wild horse, but I can imagine it takes patience, takes time, takes trusting, building that trust. So allowing my mind to slow down and recognizing that the world did not implode. I had to build that trust that everything I thought was urgent could wait for 20 minutes. I had to establish that trust in that. Meditation for me looks like sitting still and having thoughts that I forgot to email someone or I need to add this to my list, and I don't jump up and do it right then. So meditation looks like not reacting for a set period of time, just not reacting. I still have the thoughts. I don't react. So I'm training myself throughout my day, throughout life, to not be so reactive to the person that cuts me off in traffic or the person that's rude to me because that's just how they are. You get what I'm saying? It is a muscle that you build, and you can only build it by sitting still. And now we talk a lot about healing ourselves and healing our healing ancestral ties and healing the planet. I promise you, it starts within you. And if you're too busy and too loud, you're not able to access that station, that message. You have to allow yourself to sit still and tune in. It takes practice. Yes, It's challenging at first. Yes, I've done hard. I've done hard things in my life. Sitting my ass still is not hard. My ego will tell me, oh, this is so hard. My ego will say, this is stupid. This is pointless. Nothing is happening. Why are you doing this? You're wasting time. You've got things you need to be doing. It's been long enough. You really should be getting up. This is silly. Nothing's happening. You need to get up. You've been sitting here long enough. This whole meditation thing, it's uncomfortable. Things are coming up. Oh no. Oh no. I'm getting real uncomfortable. I'm getting uncomfortable. Let's move now. That's that ego. That's probably likely what meditation will feel like in the beginning for the whole amount of time. Every part of your body may start to itch. Mine did. I could not sit still for any amount of, as soon as the meditation started, I would start to itch. My legs would go to sleep. Then I would start thinking, oh, my legs are asleep. Something bad's going to happen. I'm just going to, I can't do this. So I get it. I get it. All of those things, you may feel like you're going to jump out of your skin. Likely going to happen, but I promise that you won't. I promise that you won't. So a few tips on that. Well, let me say something. I even have an outline and I have barely even looked at it, and that's okay. I did want to share that years ago, I was getting ready for work, and I think I had some news show on. I used to watch the news back then, and I think it was Good Morning America or something. And I was getting ready for work, and this guy was on there, and this was before meditation was so mainstream as it is now. And he was on this show, and he was talking about meditation and how he had started exploring and practicing meditation, the type I'm talking about, just sitting still. And as a result, he had learned to breathe and stay calm and to go within, to slow his mind, to calm his mind, because he had worked that muscle, he had practiced. And so he'd been practicing meditation and wasn't really sure if it was working or not, but he was sticking with it. And then he was unfortunately or fortunately in a plane crash. And he's survived the crash, and he's in the wreckage, but he was pinned, and the wreckage is burning, and there are people there to rescue him from the wreckage, but it's on fire. So he must remain calm, and so that they can get to him, because if he doesn't remain calm, he will surely burn alive. And he shared about how his practice of meditation allowed him at that time to stay calm. He did not react. He's in burning wreckage, and he did not react frantically. He stayed calm. He was able to breathe and go within. That's pretty powerful. That resonated with me, and I finished getting ready, and then throughout my days, that just stuck with me, because, there are many times that I felt like my ass was on fire. And like with fire, if we get too excited, the flames get bigger and the fire gets out of control. But if we can stay calm, we can usually manage that fire and use it to light our way. Meditation allows me to do that. So you can't do meditation wrong. However, there are some things that you can do to improve the experience. Okay. So like I said, you can do it all of the ways I talked about. You cannot do it wrong, but there are ways to improve the experience. One of those ways is, I find it's very beneficial to do it first thing in the morning. First thing, or before you do anything interactive. So for me, it's as soon as the husband leaves for work. But we don't watch any news. We don't have the TV on. We play cards before he goes to work. And so my mind, I haven't interacted with anyone other than him. So I haven't been exposed to much, just him and my cat. And then as soon as he leaves for work, I go into my morning ritual, which includes meditation. Doing it deliberately and consistently. Set a time. I have a time. Now, on the weekends, it's more fluid. My routine changes on the weekends, but I still create quiet, sitting still moments within my weekends. As humans, I have found that we do need structure. We want freedom, but even rivers and lakes and oceans have shores and banks to contain the water so it can flow. There's some structure to the flow. And if I don't structure in things that are important to me, you know what happens? They usually end up along the wayside to do things that are less important. And I want to give you this analogy because this is what is given to me often by my spirit guides is analogies, because that's how my brain likes to play. Do you like to stop and get gas, put gas in your car? Do you? You may say, well, if the weather's not bad, if the conditions are just right, sure, I'll stop and put gas in my car. If it's raining, if it's cold, if it's dark, if it's a strange part of town, if it's late, if it's early, all these things, no, I don't want to stop and get gas. But do you? Of course you do. Why? Because you want your car to perform. You want it to do what it's designed to do to get you where you need to go. So you stop and you do something you really don't want to do because that's what you need to do. And we need to think of meditation as your fuel. And this vessel of flesh and bones is your vehicle. It is all it is. And if you don't feed it, if you don't fuel it, it's going to leave you stranded, likely at an inconvenient time, likely somewhere maybe dangerous or unpleasant that you don't want to be. But if you fuel it, even when you don't feel like it, it will perform, it will serve you. You will stay aware of your path, your journey. I promise you, meditation is one of the top 2. It's number one of the things that I do daily that allowed me to feel empowered in my life by sitting still, just sitting still. I'm not trying to hear anything. I'm not trying to get downloads. I'm not trying to get images or visions, nothing. I am simply allowing myself to sit still. Ooh, another important tip here. Set a timer. Set a timer. Let me say it again. Set a timer. If you don't, that loud ego will start saying, it's been long enough. How long has it been? Oh my gosh, I think it's been forever. You don't have time to sit here like this. You really need to get up. It's been long enough. Just get up. You've done it long enough. Go. I promise the ego will do this to you. So when you set a timer, the ego has nothing to worry about. You're not going to be late. You're not going to sit too long. And I find now that when I set that timer and go into my meditation, ooh, it's so delicious. I don't have to respond, think, react, figure out nothing. Nothing. I just sit there. Now, I have a sacred space, an altar that I sit at for meditation. I do think that creating that space helps to make the experience more pleasant. It's not required. Again, it's just something that can support the practice. And I'll talk more about creating sacred spaces in another episode. But I don't want to do that right now. I find that sitting up, some people like to lie down. I have been taught that if you fall asleep, it's best if you can stay awake during meditation. Like it's okay to go to that trance place, but you don't want to fall asleep. Again, that's different schools of thought. I personally feel that staying awake is beneficial. And finding, so if I like to sit up, but you don't have to sit on the floor with your legs crossed. Sit in a chair if that's comfortable for you, or reclined, or whatever is comfortable for you. Learn to observe the thoughts that come up. Just observe them without judging. Yes, again, the first many times, it may be worry. You may sit there for the whole time and worry. Be aware of that. Because if you're not, it's going to be hard to shift that way of thinking if you aren't even aware of what your thoughts are. So I feel that I'm winding down here. I also feel that I could talk a lot longer on meditation. It is powerful. For me, it is my lifeline. It is also in shamanism, it is, if I had to give you two words to describe shamanism, one would be experiential, the other would be reciprocity. It's give and take, not just it, but creation, life. And when I am wanting support, seeking support, accepting support from the invisible realms, reciprocity is important. So again, for me also, meditation is showing up. It's showing up and saying, I'm here, I'm sitting still, I'm listening, I'm allowing. I am. So I trust that you will take what you want and leave the rest. I am going to do some drumming and singing, and we're going to do a little meditation here, actually. So my favorite meditation app is Insight Timer. It does have a free version, and that is the one that I use. Let me get this to 0. It has all kinds of meditations, guided meditations, which again, I encourage those. There are meditations for children. I tell new parents, and I am a mother of twins, and I wish I knew then what I know now, because I did not do this with my girls. But if I knew as a young mother what I know now, a meditation practice would have been something that they would have grown up with. It would have been the most empowering coping tool I could have given them. So we're just going to do, let's see, we're just going to do 3 minutes. And if you need to go right now, you can. And I'm going to guide you through this, so it will be partially silent and partially me just supporting you as we do it. So Insight Timer has a lovely timer, and you can set that, and it gives you a bell, like a ringing bell, so it's not a loud alarm. And this is what I use when I meditate. So I'm going to start it, and we're going to go for 3 minutes. So let me give you a moment here to get yourself comfortable. If you want to pause the podcast or the video right now, you can do that and get yourself in a comfortable position. And this is only going to be for 3 minutes. And I just want you to observe what your experience is, just to see. All right, so here we go. And now just let your eyelids relax. Just become aware of your body and any physical sensations. If you need to shift or scratch anything, just do so. This is not a test of endurance. And now become aware of your breath. Feel your breath moving in and out. Moving in and out. Just allowing your thoughts to pass by. You can visualize them as clouds floating by, or leaves dancing away in the wind. just observing. Keep breathing. You can bring your awareness to any sounds around you and come back to your breath. You did it. That was 3 minutes. Very good. Now I encourage you to journal or just take a moment to see how was that? Did it feel like 30 minutes? Was it hard? It's okay if it was hard, but see, you can do hard and it will get easier and you are worth it. It's not just like, what's the point? Oh, there are so many benefits. I haven't even really talked about that. Google that, the benefits of meditation. There's lots of science behind it. So much information. I could do another whole episode just on the benefits of it. So much. And you are worth it. Do it for you and do it for the planet, do it for the world, because you are where all of that starts, the healing, all of it. Let me say, restoring to wellness. I don't think we're as sick as we think we are. I think we just need to restore our minds to wellness, restore ourselves to wellness. And yeah, I am going to do some drumming and singing as I close. And some of you have requested that I do some YouTube videos of me singing some songs. I don't know if I can legally sing the songs because they're not mine. And when I've looked up to cover other people's songs, I have to get permission. And with the folk songs, the Native American folk songs that I sing, I don't know if that applies to that, but I don't know that it doesn't. So what that did is that inspired me to consider writing my own songs. So we're going to play with that a little bit. I have a song here. Actually, it's just a verse that I wrote this morning after my morning meditation and journaling. And yeah, so this is what we're going to do. This is going to be my song to you. This is going to be I'm rhyming, my debut of my song to you. So here we go. Get yourself comfortable. I sat at the feet of my grandmother. I said, grandmother, grandmother, what do I need to know? She said, my child, this is what I say. Get grounded and centered before the day begins. Come home to the place that only resides within. Come just as you are. Nothing to prepare. Simply sit still, breathe, and become aware. Grandmother, grandmother, can you tell me please the answer to all of my problems today? my child, get grounded and centered before the day begins. Come home to the place that only resides within. Come just as you are, nothing to prepare. Simply sit quietly, breathe, and become aware. Just take a deep breath and feel some gratitude for being alive, for being you. And remember, you are safe, you are supported, and you are so loved. I love you. Thank you.